Good morning to everyone. This is Sara Palaparthi. I am working as a lecturer in botany, PR Government College, Kakinada. Today I am going to talk about chromosome structure and DNA organization in chromosome. So before going into the topic, I'll discuss about chromosome structure, chromosome organization, euchromatin and heterochromatin. Next, coming to chromosome structure, here Walter Fleming in early 1880s revealed that during cell division, the nuclear material organize themselves into a visible thread-like structures. That thread-like structure is called chromosome. Chromo means that is color, zoma means body. The stained body he observed inside the nucleus, so he called it as chromosome. And the term chromosome was coined by the scientist Waldeyer in 1888. So here, as I told you that chromo means color, zoma means body. So it is defined as the higher order organization arranged of DNA and protein. So chromosome is nothing but it is made up of nucleoprotein, nucleic acid associated with the protein. It contains many genes or these are hereditary units, regulatory elements and other nucleotide sequences. Chromosomes also contain DNA bounded proteins which serve in packing of the DNA molecule. So here chromosome is completely chemically it is composed of genetic material, that is DNA, and it is wrapped by the protein molecule. Next. So here chromosome vary both in number, structure among organisms. So chromosome number may varies from organism to organism. And Benden-Boveri reported the number of chromosomes in each species that is constant. Saturn and Boveri suggested that chromosomes are the physical structures which acted as messengers of heredity. And here chromosomes are tightly coiled DNA around basic histone proteins which helps in tight packing of DNA molecule. And coming to chromosome structure, here chromosome number. So here there are normally 2 copies of each chromosome present in every somatic cell. And here the number is unique chromosomes in such a cell is known as its haploid number, and the total number of chromosomes is its haploid number. The suffix ploid refers to chromosome sets. The haploid set of the chromosome is also known as the genome. Structurally, eukaryotes possess large linear chromosomes unlike prokaryotes which have circular chromosome. So here in this diagram, so we have observed that centromere is there. So gene bands are there, we can observe. So we can observe that is a single chromosome and 2 chromosomes here. So in chromosome we can also observe the arms of the chromosome, we can call it as chromatids. And here when coming to size of the chromosome, the size of the chromosome is normally measured at mitotic metaphase and maybe as short as 0.25 micrometers in fungi and birds, as long 30 micrometers in some plants like a trillium. And here we can study the size and shape and structure of the chromosome in only the metaphase of mitotic cell division. So when we want to observe the chromosome structure, we can go to the we can go to the cell division, that is especially at metaphase. And here the shape of the chromosome changes from phase to phase in the continuous process of cell growth and cell division. During the resting phase, or that is the interphase of the cell, chromosome occur in the form of thin coiled elastic contractile thread-like strainable structures like chromatin threads. In the metaphase and the anaphase, the chromosome becomes thick and filamentous. Each chromosome contains a clear zone known as centromere or kinetochore along their length. The centromere divides the chromosome into 2 parts and each part is called chromosome arm. The position of centromere varies from chromosome to chromosome and providing it a different shape. The, the chromosome with the centromere near the center, that is metacentric shaped, with the centromere at the center, that is V shape. And here should be telocentric centromere, it appears at the terminal site of the chromosome, that is the telomere position. Acrocentric centromere at one end, giving it a very short, and another one is long arm, that is submetacentric. We can observe J, L and L shapes. Here, structure of the chromosome. A chromosome at mitotic metaphase consists of two symmetrical structures called chromatids. So those are the arms of the chromosome. Each chromatid contains a single DNA molecule and both chromatids are attached to each other with the help of centromere and become separated at the beginning of anaphase. The chromosomes are bead-like accumulations of chromatin material that are sometimes visible along interphase chromosomes. The chromosome bearing chromatin has an appearance of a necklace in which several beads occur on a string. And here we can observe that chromosomes in chromatin, that is the clumsy form or the highly coiled form of the chromosome. It is the inactive form of the chromosome. Whenever it undergoes the division or whatever it may be, whenever it can enter into division, then only we can observe the chromosome structure clearly. So as I said, it is clearly observed at the metaphase of the mitotic cell division. When coming to centromere, in a chromosome contains specific DNA sequences with the special protein bands that is bounded to them, forming a disc-like structure that is called kinetochore. Kinetochore appears as a plate or disc like a structure, so with 0.2 to 0.25 nanometers in diameter, situated upon the primary constriction or centromere. So here we can call the centromere also known as, that is also called primary constriction. So that is the main source of the main function of the centromere is that it is mainly useful for the attachment of the spindle fibers during anaphase. So the chromosomes of most organisms contain only one centromere and are all known as monocentric. When chromosome contains the chromosome also possesses secondary constriction at any point of the chromosome and are constant in their position and extent. So chromosomes also contain nucleolar organizers which are certain secondary constrictions that contain the genes coding for 5.8s, 18s, 28s, ribosomal RNA and induce the formation of nucleoli. Sometimes the chromosomes bear round elongated knob-like structures, appendages known as satellites. The satellite remains connected with the rest of the chromosomes by a thin chromatin filament. So that is chromatin. So chemical composition of the chromatin, that is chromatin is highly condensed form of chromosome, and chromatin consists of DNA, RNA and proteins. The protein of chromatin could be of two types, that is histones and non-histones. DNA is the most important chemical component of chromatin since it plays a central role of controlling heredity and is most convenient measured in picograms. So here, in addition to describing the genome of an organism by its number of chromosomes, it is also described by the amount of DNA in a haploid cell. This is usually expressed as the amount of DNA per haploid cell, usually expressed as picograms, or the number of kilobases per haploid cell is called C value. This is constant for every cell. So C value is nothing but the amount of DNA per haploid cell, that is the C value. This is the constant, and this is constant for every cell of every species. For diploid cells, it is 2C, that is the quantity may be duplicated in diploid cells. Here, extending the C value, we reach the C-value paradox. So when we calculate the haploid DNA amount, it is called the C-value. When we calculate the amount of diploid cell, it is called C-value paradox. When coming to histone proteins, because as I said here, chromosomes are DNA associated with proteins, as we studied that. So histones are basic proteins because DNA is a negatively charged macromolecule. It is associated with the proteins because of the basic amino acids which are present in histone protein. So that's why like arginine, lysine are the basic amino acids present in the histone protein. So the association takes place between DNA and histone protein. At physiological pH, they are cationic and can interact with the anionic nucleic acid. So they form highly condensed structures. So histones, if we study the types, we can observe H1, H2A, H2B, H3, H4, which are very similar among different species of eukaryotes and have been highly conserved during evolution. And here H1 is called a linker DNA. H1 is the least conserved among all and is also loosely bound with DNA. H1 is absent in Saccharomyces cerevisiae, that is the yeast. In yeast, H1 histone protein is absent. So when we come into non-histones, so along with histone proteins, non-histone proteins are also present in addition to histones. So the chromatin comprises of many different types of non-histone proteins which are involved in the range of activities including DNA replication and gene expression. So not only the structural integrity, to maintain the structural integrity, these non-histone proteins are involved in the various functions of the DNA like replication as well as expression, gene expression. And next, when coming to they display more diversity or not the conserved, they may also differ between different tissues of same organism. Korenberg described the basic structural unit of chromatin, which is called nucleosome. So here, this is the chromosome organization. So when we study the, so as I said, Korenberg said, when we study the structure of the, here we can see the short region of double helix DNA, that is 2 nanometers. This is the first level of packaging of DNA with histone proteins. And next in 11 nanometers organization, we can observe the beads on a string-like structure. So these bead we can call it as that is nucleosome. So DNA associated with proteins at these particular parts. And we coming to that second level packaging of DNA. So we can observe 30 nanometers chromatin fiber of packed nucleosomes. So here nucleosomes are highly packed, that is 30 nanometers in size. And when coming to the chromosome in extended forms, we can observe the loop-like structure here, that is at 300 nanometers. So when coming to final level organization, that is the DNA, that is the chromosome, it can appears as a loops. The loops associated, that is called domains, and after domains they are coming, they can form the scaffold like structures, and we can observe these two loops and domains, they are attached with the matrix associated proteins. So this is the final level of packaging of chromosome. So here we can observe the loops, highly condensed form of the chromosome. So 700 nanometer structure seen in the metaphase chromosome. The condensed piece of chromatin has a characteristic scaffolding structure. So it is the highly folding structure. We can observe this higher order organization, that is the final level organization. So first, short region of DNA, double helix, that is 2 nanometers. Next 11 nanometers, beads on a string. Next, highly coiled structure of the heterochromatin, that is the nucleosome molecules, that is 30 nanometers in size. And next, when coming to that is loops we can observe in the chromosome, that is 300 nanometers. And when coming to final level organization, we can observe the loops, scaffolds and domains. So here that is we can observe in metaphase, cell division metaphase. So this is a final level organization, chromosome organization. And next, when coming to the important that is terms we can observe in chromosome, that is euchromatin and heterochromatin. So euchromatin, what is euchromatin? That is the lightly stained regions in chromosome when stained with basic dyes are called euchromatin. So lightly stained portions of the chromosome is called euchromatin and contains single copy of genetically active DNA. So it is genetically active part of the chromosome. So it contains the active DNA. The extent of chromatin condensation varies during the life cycle of the cell and plays an important role in regulation of gene expression. So this portion is mainly responsible for functional aspects of the cell, that is the gene expression, that is the protein synthesis. In the interface of the cell cycle, the chromatin are decondensed and known as euchromatin, leading to gene transcription and DNA replication. So in interphase, when we observe in cell cycle, the decondensed form of the chromosome is called euchromatin. So it leading to the gene transcription and as well as DNA replication. When coming to heterochromatin, the word heterochromatin was coined by Heads based on cytological observations. They are highly condensed form. Here, as I told, decondensed form is euchromatin, highly condensed form is heterochromatin. And here, in some areas, that is, we can observe about 10% of interface chromatin is called heterochromatin and is in very highly condensed state that resembles the chromatin of cells undergoing mitosis. They contain a highly densely repetitive DNA found at centromere and telomere form of that is the heterochromatin. Heterochromatin are of two types, that is constitutive and facultative. The regions that remain condensed throughout the cell cycle are called constitutive heterochromatin. So there is no changes we can observe unless the completion of the cell cycle we can observe the complete condensed form of DNA without having any function, that is the constitutive heterochromatin. Whereas regions where heterochromatin condensation state can change are known as facultative heterochromatin. So that is constitutive heterochromatin is found in the regions of that is telomere and centromere. That is constitutive heterochromatin possesses very few genes and they also lead to transcriptional inactivation of nearby genes. This phenomenon of gene silencing is known as position effect. And here constitutive heterochromatin also inhibit that is genetic recombination between homologous repetitive sequences, that is the DNA duplication and deletion, whereas facultative heterochromatin it has been specifically inactivated during certain phases of an organism life or in certain types of differentiated cells. Doses compensation of X chromosome or X chromosome inactivation in mammals is an example of such heterochromatin. That is, heterochromatin spreads from a specific nucleation site, causing silencing of most of the X chromosome, thereby regulating gene doses. So here the main difference between the constitutive heterochromatin and facultative heterochromatin is that constitutive heterochromatin, it remains inactive throughout the life cycle. Mainly it is involved in the gene silencing. It is called gene silencing, but in facultative we can observe the facultative heterochromatin. It may be inactivated during few phases, but it may be activated wherever it is necessary. So X chromosome, one X chromosome in doses compensation, one X chromosome is inactivated during that condition. That is the facultative heterochromatin. So heterochromatin is, that is the inactive or the condensed form of the chromosome. So here I will complete my chromosome structure as well as chromosome heterochromatin, euchromatin and chromosome organization. Thank you one and all.